Vaishnavad Punamansa Pariprajaka Ashtotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21-23. Tasya me tad anushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha loka syu kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha lokasyu kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha lokasyu kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha lokasyu kama sandoha tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha sukama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik. Ladies. Tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha lokasyu kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik tasya me tadanushtanad yanahur brahmavadinaha lokasyu kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrik tasya his, me, mine, tat, that, anushtanat, by executing, yan, that which, ahuhu, is spoken, brahmavadinaha, by the experts in Vedic knowledge, lokaha, planets, syuhu, become, kamasandohaha, fulfilling one's desirable objectives. Yasya, whose, tushyati, becomes satisfied. Dishtadrik, the seer of all destiny. Maharaj Prithu said, I think that upon the execution of my duties as king, I shall be able to achieve the desirable objectives described by experts in Vedic knowledge. This destination is certainly achieved by the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the seer of all destiny. Purport. Maharaj Prithu gives special stress to the word brahmavadinaha, by the experts in the Vedic knowledge. Brahma refers to the Vedas, which are also known as Shabda Brahma, or transcendental sound. Transcendental sound is not ordinary language, although it appears to be written in ordinary language. Evidence from the Vedic literature should be accepted as final authority. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Can we adjust this upward? Let's see. Just, yeah, that's the other way to do it. You can just do it this way. That's probably good. Yeah. Thank you. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Shapadantikam Pandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is axiomatic, that the words of the Vedic literature are accepted as true. The sound of the Vedas is said to emanate from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And whatever is said in Vedic literature is evidence. There are different methods of getting knowledge. Srila Prabhupada outlines them in his introduction to the Ishopanishad. One may get knowledge by, of course there are more ways. They're outlined also in the Shastra. But basically, prajaksha, direct perception, anuman, induction, what we figure out, logic, and shabda, evidence from Vedic literature. So all other methods of gaining knowledge are considered imperfect, and the receiving knowledge from the Vedic sound is the most authoritative method, particularly if we want to get knowledge about that which is beyond the mind and senses. We have no choice. Achincha kalu ye bhava natam tarkiya yogiye. Logic won't be effective for that which is beyond the power of the mind to understand. Yes. So although the Vedic knowledge appears to be ordinary sound, just as Hare Krishna mantra appears to be ordinary sound, it's transcendental. In the Vedic literature, so Shabda Brahma. Brahma here means Shabda Brahma, transcendental sound. Shabda means sound, and Brahma means transcendental, or absolute. In the Vedic literature, there's much information, and of course there's information about the execution of a king's duty. A responsible king who executes his appointed duty by giving proper protection to all living entities on his planet is promoted to the heavenly planetary system. This is also dependent upon the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. It is not that if one executes his duty properly, he's automatically promoted. For promotion depends upon the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It must be ultimately concluded that one can achieve the desired result of his activities upon satisfying the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ata pumbir dvija shreshta varnashrama vipagashaha swanustitasya dharmasya sangsiddhir haritoshanam. The perfection of one's execution of his appointed duties is the ultimate satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. So tushyati. Yeah, I just can't see it from this angle. Such are the limitations of the eyes. But when one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one attains perfection. Sangsiddhi haritoshanam. Everything else, all right, we're doing this, doing this. But finally, if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not satisfied, the result won't be obtained. One has to satisfy. And even if one doesn't follow every rule and regulation, if Krishna is satisfied, then finished, everything is complete. Apart from that, it's understood that the king who performs his duties, if Krishna is satisfied, attains the heavenly planets. Even he achieves a portion of the pious activities of all the citizens, and by his proper management, the Lord is satisfied, we hope, and he attains at least the heavenly planets. The word kama santoha means achievement of the desired result. Everyone desires to achieve the ultimate goal of life, but in modern civilization, the great scientists think that man's life has no plan. This gross ignorance is very dangerous and makes civilization very risky. People do not know the laws of nature, which are the rulings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they are atheists of the first order, they have no faith in the existence of God and his rulings, and therefore do not know how nature is working. This gross ignorance of the mass of people, including even the so-called scientists and philosophers, makes life a risky situation in which human beings do not know whether they are making progress in life. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, they are simply progressing to the darkest region of material existence, adanta gobhi vishatam tamishram. The Krishna consciousness movement has therefore been started to give philosophers, scientists, and people in general the proper knowledge about the destiny of life. Everyone should take advantage of this movement and learn the real goal of life. So kama sandoha, kama means the desired goal. It's kama sandoha. The nate vidu svartakatim hi Vishnu durashaya ye bahirartamanina. People don't know the purpose of life. They think there's no purpose, life has no meaning, life has no purpose, or life has whatever purpose you create. That's a common one. That there's no inherent meaning in life, but you create meaning by your own thinking. Life is, for you, whatever you think it is. The goal of life is whatever you come up with. There is no, by that thinking, there's no standard. There's no standard. Anyone's goal is as good as anyone else's goal because it's all arbitrary and self-created. The householder's goal is to protect his property. The thief's goal is to steal it. Who can say which goal is better? There's no absolute rule. So arbitrarily, we decide among ourselves that protecting the property is better. But the thieves decide among themselves that stealing the property is better. So why do we decide that this or that is better when it's all arbitrary? Sariputta Prabhu pointed this out in his classic work, Mechanistic and Non-Mechanistic Science. You can take any outcome and reduce it to ones and zeros according to the reductionistic point of view, the materialistic point of view. Everything can be described in theory, if you had enough computing power and so on. You could describe the protection of the property, or the state in which the property is protected, as 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 1 0 0 0, on and on, big long string. And you could describe the state of affairs in which the property is stolen as 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0. So if it's all just boiled down to arbitrary strings of ones and zeros, how do we determine that one is superior to the other, or that this has a better meaning than that one, that this is a better outcome? It's all arbitrary. Whatever I think, whatever I think, that's what it is. There's no plan. Asatyam apratishtam te jagadahuranishwaram. Aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamohitakam. The demonic think in this way. Asatyam apratishtam te. The world is all insubstantial. It has no real truth to it. It has no basis. Apratishta. It just is. Aparaspara sambhutam. It's come about by combinations of atoms and molecules, or this chemical and that chemical. Life is just another chemical process. To think that it's more than that is to think that there's some ghost in the machine, to imagine some spiritual entity. But we know that there's nothing but chemicals. In which case, again, why should we think that one chemical state is better than another chemical state, or that this is mentioned in the second chapter, Bhagavad Gita. Tata chainam nityajatam nityam va manisemritam tatapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitamarhasi. If you think that everything is just a product of matter, then you still have nothing to lament over. If there's like a beaker of chemicals lying on a shelf and someone knocks it over, that's not a cause for lamentation. No difference, you just clean it up. So if another beaker of chemicals in the form of your wife is run over a car and splattered all over the street, why is that any more lamentable than your wife being alive? If everything is just different chemical situations, does anyone lament do they hold a national day of mourning if some chemicals are knocked off the shelf? Yeah. So if your wife is killed, she's just a combination of chemicals, why mourn? Or if a whole country is wiped out, why mourn? It's just an adjustment of the chemical situation. 1 0 1 1 and so on. So, of course, Krishna doesn't subscribe to this view, but he says, Atat chainam nityajatam nityam va manisemritam. If you think that's what it is, tatapi tvam mahabhaho, then you have no reason to lament. And that's, of course, the position of the demons. They don't lament anything. They don't regret anything, except the loss of sense gratification. They'll do anything. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha jana navidura suraha. Nashocham napi cha charo nasatyam teshu vidyate. They don't follow any Vedic regulations, any superstitious old rules. They don't have any sentimental ideas or wispy ideas of there being a God in control of things. they know that there's nothing else but chemicals. Mhm. And so they arbitrarily do whatever they want for sense gratification. They don't know what is proper and improper. There's no truth in them. There's no cleanliness. They're dirty dealers, liars. And they're busy creating a hellish situation. Uga karmana kshayaya jagato hita kama mashriti dushpuram tana mana madanvita. But elsewhere, what was that? Etan drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanopabhutaya prabhavantya uga karmana kshayaya jagato hita. They think that everything is just atoms and material processes. And with this idea, etan drishtim avashtabhya nashtatma, they've lost sight of the soul. They've lost themselves in the process. Because alpa buddhi, although they appear to be great intellects, they're actually fools. So what do they create by all of their grand enterprises? Prabhavanti, they flourish in ugra karma, nasty activities. Kshayaya jagato hitaha, which are against everyone's interest and which create violence and destruction everywhere. Because there's no plan, there's no God, there's no anything. So kamopabhoga padama etavaditi nishchitaha. What is their idea? Everyone has an idea about the ultimate objective. Their idea is kama upabhoga parama. The highest thing, parama, is kama upabhoga. Sense gratification, sex life. Kama upabhoga parama. Asha pasha shatara baddha kama krodha parayana. Ihante kama bhogartam anyayen artha sanchayan. So they're busy accumulating things for sense gratification. They have thousands of desires. They're bound up by thousands of desires, asha, pasha, shatara, baddha. And they're intent on sense gratification and absorbed in anger at the same time when they're frustrated or when someone stands in their way. And so they collect money by black means. Somehow or other, cheat the public, get money. And the big demons do it at a huge scale. They have so many schemes and plans for sucking money out of the public treasuries of the world. Rakshasim asrim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. They take shelter of the illusory energy. And they go on with their demonic activities. So these kinds of executive heads of the world create chaos. They have no idea that there's actually a proper purpose to life. And they have no idea of destiny, especially their own destiny. They don't know that they're adanta gobhir vishatam tamishram, that by their uncontrolled activities they're just paving the way to hellish life for themselves, at least in the next life. Everything is just whatever they imagine. They have no real knowledge. So they don't know what to do, what not to do, and unfortunately they're posted as the heads of state, rascals and fools. So the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give people the understanding that everything is owned and controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Isha Vashamidam Sarvam, and that everything should be done for his satisfaction. Yagyartat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we act for the satisfaction of Krishna, then everything is good. Otherwise, we'll just be entangled more and more in the results of our own sinful activities and go on suffering life after life. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Ihante kama bogartam anya yenarta sanchayan. Yes.
Maharaj Pito explains that everything depends on the satisfaction of the Lord. When we look at our own endeavors, we see that there are so many shortcomings, imperfections. So how will we be ever...
Krishna's satisfaction isn't dependent on perfection of our activities. In the Bible also, the Christians like to quote, that it's not by works alone that one can be promoted to the kingdom of God, right? There's a verse like that. Not by works alone. So we share that view. It's not that just by performing one's prescribed duties, even if one does it perfectly, Krishna will be satisfied. It depends on his mercy, it depends on, and with his mercy, all right, it may not be perfect, but he's done it with devotion. That's the main thing. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachjati vashnami prayatatmana. I'll accept even a little water or a little fruit or flower if it's offered with devotion. The karmis have a hard time satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they have to meet so many requirements. And because they're self-interested. They're not really interested in satisfying the personality of Godhead, except as that helps their plan for material enjoyment. That's not so satisfying to begin with. When I know that you're just using me, you're serving me so that you can get some money, so that you can get some favor, then that's not a very satisfying relationship. All right, you did the work, okay, take the pay. And you better do the work well, otherwise I'll fire you and get somebody else. But when there's love and devotion, even if you don't do the work very well, but then all right, he's devoted, he's sincere, he tries to do everything very nicely, he's loyal, he's willing to do whatever's asked. Then all right, he may not be perfect, but he's better than the person who's just thinking, I'll work here for some time, I'll learn everything about the business, then I'll go and start a competitive business in the same line. He's doing everything nicely, but he has ulterior motives. So with ulterior motives, it's difficult to satisfy the personality of Godhead. But Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atma bhakto. Therefore, by following the Vedic methods, it's difficult to satisfy the Lord. But by atma bhakti, by pure devotional service, the Lord is easily pleased. Bhaktya mama bhijanati. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. It is Krishna's. How can he perform loving devotional service if we don't feel real love?
If what?
If we don't feel real love for Krishna.
If we don't feel real love from Krishna?
How can we?
We should educate ourselves that Krishna is giving us everything. Even if we're not his devotees, he gives us food, water, shelter, everything. And for the devotees, he gives so much more. Oh, why should we feel that we're not loved?
I meant loving devotional service. How do we do it if we don't have love?
By practice. Abhyasa yogena tato mamich chaptum dhananjaya. That's 12th chapter. Atachitam samadhatum nashaknoshi maistiram abhyasa yogena tato mamich chaptum dhananjaya. All right, if you don't have spontaneous love for me, that's understood. Then abhyasa yogena tato. Then take up devotional service in practice. And then mamich chaptum dhananjaya. You'll develop the desire to satisfy me. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You said that even if you do your described duties, but God is not happy, then it's not successful. But even if you don't hold a regulative principle, but Krishna is happy, you are successful. Is there any kind of measurement how to see if Krishna is happy with that we are doing?
Yes, you'll get more service. You'll feel satisfied also. The representatives of Krishna, the Guru, the Vaishnavas, they'll say, yes, very good, you're making progress. These are all indications of Krishna's pleasure. When the Vaishnavas are satisfied, then it's understood Krishna is satisfied. When the spiritual master is satisfied, yasya prasada, Bhagavad prasada. When he's satisfied, then Krishna is satisfied also. Is that okay? Anything else?
You spoke before about the atheistic. You spoke before about spoke before about the atheistic mentality of seeing everything as a bunch of chemicals, and I see also sometimes like the opposite, in the sense that for example, with all the wars and
without the what?
Wars. Yeah, fight.
Yeah.
Aggressive acts. That they would feel like, okay, if there would be a God, like how could he be allowing such terrible acts and such very terrible kind of.
Oh, you mean you think that the wars were all about protecting the world from terrible people? Is that your idea?
No, so I've heard, okay, like when this question of, okay, if there would be a God, if it's not just a bunch of chemicals, so how it can be allowed such suffering in the...
You want to behave like cats and dogs, he allows it. He has a plan. If you don't want to follow the plan, you want to suffer instead, that's your business. Don't complain. The government has money to send you to college. If you want to rob the bank instead and go to jail, then the government will spend a different kind of money on you to keep you in prison. Don't blame the government. You had the opportunity. You chose the jail. All right. Now don't complain.
Yeah, it was said to me, but there are also many innocent people that they just...
No one's innocent. If they were innocent, they'd be in the spiritual world. Is that all right? All right. Shall we end here? Or you had a question? Is that a question? No, okay. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Mam ich Chaptum Dhananjaya.